You've all heard the saying, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your preparation. I would suggest we could add to that a little bit. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your energy. I want you to think about it. You can have the best plan, the best strategy, the best intentions. But if you don't have the energy and you show up exhausted, frustrated, distracted, snapping at your team or your family, you're not going to get anywhere. Energy isn't just fuel, it's your weapon. And those leaders who learn how to protect it, direct it, and then weaponize it, they just don't survive the grind, they dominate it. I'm Chris Hunsicker, and this is the Dealership War Room. Leadership fires, 7 minutes, built daily, fueled intentionally, and delivered relentlessly. And today, I want to share with you how you can protect, direct, and ultimately weaponize your energy. So let's dive in. You're not burned out because you're weak or you don't care or you're getting too old or this is the wrong job. You're burned out because you're leaking energy in all the wrong places. You work 60 hours a week, but your focus is shredded. You're pounding caffeine, you're skipping meals, and you're wondering why your body feels like it's betraying you. And then you walk in the door at home, you feel drained, you give your family these little scraps of energy, and then wonder why you feel guilty about it. That's not weakness, and it's not a character flaw. That's poor energy strategy. Here's the truth. Energy is your greatest leadership asset, and you need to protect it, direct it, and weaponize it. Let me share with you 3 energy traps that almost all leaders fall into. Over 25 years of coaching some of the best leaders I've ever met, almost every one of them at some point in their career fell into these energy traps. So let's take a look at them one by one. Number 1 is overwork without recovery. There's this mindset we get into that more hours equal more results. And so when you do that, when you don't build in any recovery, what always happens is your performance goes off a cliff. You're like the guy who doesn't have time to sharpen his saw, right? So the saw gets duller and duller and duller, and it takes longer and longer and longer to cut down a tree, and he gets more and more behind, so he has even less time to sharpen the saw. Do not skip recovery. The second pattern is what I call reactive energy. This is where so much of your energy gets spent not in proactively building your business and driving goals, but in reactively responding to your environment. Every ping, every drama, every urgent just hijacks your attention, and then you find yourself just bled dry at the end of the day. Number 3, low quality fuel. Junk food, bad sleep, endless caffeine, they keep you running, but they literally hollow you out over time. Those are the 3 patterns, right? No recovery, overwork without recovery, that reactive energy where you're just getting hijacked all the time. And then low quality fuel, the caffeine and the junk food and all the other crap that just hollow you out over time. That you're having problems with energy, you're not protecting it, you're not directing it. And when you're running these 3 patterns, it just sucks the very best of who you are out of every day that you show up for. So does any of this sound familiar? Because this isn't about you getting lazy. This isn't about you getting older. This isn't about you being more tired. This is about having really bad energy management. So let me share with you what I call the energy audit. And to weaponize your energy, to turn this from a drain that's killing you into a weapon that you use to actually win the war for execution, I'm going to ask you to run this simple energy audit. It's 3 steps. So the first area we need to look at energy management is our physical energy. And this comes down to 3 simple ideas: eat, sleep, move. Tom Roth wrote an entire book on that. And if this is a challenge for you, if this is an area where you need to get stronger and better, I strongly recommend you go out and read his book tonight. It's called Eat, Sleep, Move. But the question you want to ask yourself is, am I fueling my body for the fight? The second area is mental energy. Think clarity, inputs, focus. And the question I want you to ask yourself is, am I protecting my mind from junk and noise? Are you standing guard at the door of your mind to be very hyper careful about what you're letting in? Just as you can't eat junk food and be strong and have energy, you can't listen to, read, and watch junk material and be sharp and have mental clarity and focus. The third area is emotional energy. Think relationship, recovery, reflection. All of you know people who their performance is down, right? The sales consultant or the technician that's having problems with his girlfriend or boyfriend at home. And so they're not here, they're not focused, they don't have the energy to execute. And so their sales go down, their production goes down, their performance goes down. In my 12-week coaching program, I really dive deep into this because learning how to build in gratitude, reflection, some sense of meditation and ability to recover. If your recovery program isn't as strong as your exercise program, you're never going to be able to perform at an elite level. And that's what this whole idea is about, is continually asking yourself, am I carrying resentment or am I reconnecting and building connection with people? Am I building and preserving my emotional energy or am I losing it and that's causing me to lose my execution? Here's the great secret of the universe. Energy is not infinite. And every yes that you do strengthens your energy. And every leak that you allow to happen weakens your energy. And with it, your ability to execute and perform. I coached a GSM who was brilliant, sharp, driven, creative, and super funny. But he was always exhausted. He would roll in late, fueled by caffeine, crash in the mid-afternoon, drag himself home, and barely get through the day. He thought the problem was motivation, and he literally hired me to coach him to help him with his motivation. I saw it right away, and the first thing I did was I ran the energy audit, and we discovered a whole bunch of leaks. 4 hours of sleep, no workout. His mornings completely hijacked by noise. So we started by rebuilding his routines. And immediately, within a couple of weeks, you could see his energy went up, his focus sharpened, his team actually started to notice, and execution followed. Things started to get done, both at work and at home. And the biggest shift was his presence at work, where he was back to being his leader, and his presence at home, where he was really with his wife and his kids. But all this didn't happen because he got some new script, and we certainly didn't get better people. It happened because he weaponized his energy. Let me be very direct. Energy creates presence. Presence creates influence, and influence, that is what creates results. So when you find yourself needing better results at work or at home, then what you really need to do is create better presence. And the way to create better presence is by managing and weaponizing your energy. So the insight to action for today is to run the energy audit. And I want you to look at one thing that's draining you in your physical energy and identify it, write it down. Then write down and identify one thing that's draining you in your mental energy. And then write down or identify one thing that's draining you in your emotional energy. And now pick one leak and plug it. Maybe it's going to bed an hour earlier. Maybe it's skipping a meeting that you know you don't belong in. And maybe it's having a conversation that you've been putting off and it's kind of been eating at you and dragging at you. You know what it is. Trust your gut, trust your heart. Pick that thing and then go do it. Small plugs give big returns because when your energy is sharp, your leadership is sharp. War room leaders, stop treating your energy like it's an afterthought. It's not optional. It's your ultimate weapon and you need to guard it, direct it, weaponize it. That's how you go from being exhausted to being unstoppable. So today, go out, plug the energy leaks in yourself and your team, and then create some leadership fire. And I'll see you tomorrow in the Dealership War Room.